That's our recording friend there. Thank you, Jill. Uh, Today, the poem of the morning, which came in just in time, here we are. Uh, it's I'm still was still rebounding off of yesterday's retreat, which was quite amazing. Uh, and I didn't know where the poem was going, but it's here, and we'll find out. But uh, it really a lot in the poem has to do with what are we doing here? What really does heart to heart mean? This has become a community, and I mean, it is a very much a very strong, vibrant community. What does that mean? What does it really mean to be connected heart to heart? That's one aspect of what I want the readings to be today, and uh, and that's covered in the poem. Uh, we want to talk about and do a little refresher on what it really heart means, because so much in our culture, uh, a heart is it just means Valentine's Day and emotions, and that's not what we're talking about. And that's certainly not what the contemplative traditions all talk about. So I want to just go back to an old friend to, and for some of you who are new, I mean, this could be your very first time just dropping in. Well, and then maybe you drop out and don't ever come back. You're still part of this community, and whatever we do goes out to you. That gives you some idea of the heart. This is an old friend of mine, Kabir Helminski. Uh, a Sufi sheikh, and he has the best definition of the heart I've ever seen. And Cynthia Bourgeot has this, what I'm going to read to you, in every book she's ever published. Some point, she talks about it to define the heart. And so when we're talking about to being the heart to heart, we really ought to take this in. So I'll just read this into our data bank here, especially if you're new. Uh, and then it plays into what the relationship is. And Kabir, very interesting guy, started as an atheist. On Hawaii, he became a Sufi. He moved to California after a decade or so and had a Sufi community there. And now he lives in Louisville, up in the Highlands. The energy is moving, obviously, to Louisville a lot of ways. So I know the guy, but I've never been to. He does this thing on Thursday nights, and the Sufis meet on Thursday night, partially in reference to Holy Thursday in the Christian tradition, which is very interesting. But anyway, this is what Kabir has to say about the heart. And it has, and when you understand this, you realize what most people are missing, a vast a possibility here that we're missing. He says we have subtle subconscious faculties we are not using. That's the first part. We have all this software we're not using. We have subtle subconscious faculties we're not using. Beyond the limited analytical intellect is a vast realm of mind that includes psychic and extrasensory abilities, intuition, wisdom, a sense of unity, aesthetic, qualitative, and creative faculties, and image forming and symbolic capacities. Though these faculties are many, we give them a single name with some justification because they are operating best when they are in concert. They comprise a mind, moreover, in spontaneous connection to the cosmic mind. This total mind we call heart. This total mind we call heart. All these things that, that he mentions, uh, and it makes us, there's a spontaneous connection between this heart and the cosmic mind, the cosmic heart. Uh, uh, sometimes you have trouble making a connection to this Zoom retreat. It's always technical. It's a miracle we're all here, but sometimes I got disconnected yesterday for the retreat. It was awful. I'm not sure how it happened, but this quantum world is not predictable, as the physics guys will tell you. Things happen, and we don't know why these photons are going this way. All of a sudden, you're disconnected. You just have to stay with it. So that's one thing. So when we're talking about heart to heart, we're talking about this energy of this total mind that has all those things: intuition, psychic abilities, symbolic abilities. I know it's where the poem came from this morning. It's where all my good poems come from, because you open up to that. They come out of the heart, you see. So what we're doing together, and for those of you who have been hanging, like some of you have been here for more than a year, almost regularly, you know the power of this community. If you were in on the retreat yesterday, you know what the power of the community conversation was at the end. I'm still buzzing. Okay, so we're dealing with something that's not just emotions. It's like those of you who are old enough to remember transistor radios or even crystal sets. I had a crystal set. I would pick up WGN on the WLS on the crystal set. These were devices. I mean, the radio waves are going through your room and my room right now, but you have to have a way to receive it, you see. This is the receptor. And if you flip on your transistor radio or any radio now, it's there. It's right here, right now. But if you can't receive it, so there's what Kabir is saying. There's a whole realm of experience we're not receiving when we're just up in the left brain. Beautiful, a bit of software there. It's in large part made our communication right now possible, but there's just so much more. So that's one thing. That's one image I wanted before we go into the poem of the morning. Just remember, you've got this software. It's in everybody, no exceptions. Getting it online is the thing. And so I want to use a second metaphor before we all have one of these, chances are, cell phone. And if you can go to your system in the cell phone, you can find an interesting thing on every cell phone. It's called a personal hotspot. And this personal hotspot is how you can pull in, you can access everything on the internet, even when you're not in a place where there's Wi-Fi. Most cell phones are equipped with that. So even when you're disconnected from like a local Wi-Fi, you're not in your home or Starbucks or something, you can still connect the overall, the transcendent, which the internet is a physical representation of that thing that we're trying to connect with when we meditate, you see. And so everybody on their phone has a personal hotspot. So that's an important image of what's going on. You're never really disconnected. So keep that in mind. Now, the third thing, and then I'm going to read the poem. The third thing is, if the cosmos, if all of this, absolute reality, if the cosmos could speak a prayer to you in language you could understand, let's say English, and we can get the French translation later. If it could speak to you in English, and it had only one prayer for you, what would that be? I discovered that in writing this poem. Believe me, I wasn't heading towards it. It's that kind of a thing for me, when things just start coming out from the hotspot. I got connected to something. It was a surprise. So that's what this poem, it's called The Prayer of the Cosmos. It finally ends up saying, at least what I heard that the cosmos was saying to me. The prayer that it's doing 24/7 for 13.8 billion years, and it's doing right now. What would that prayer be? At least this is my version. Well, so here's the poem. This is called Prayer of the Cosmos. It'll be out to you tomorrow on Monday. Today, we remember that for all eternity, in every situation, in wealth or poverty, sickness or health, happiness or difficulty, come rain or come shine, we will bless each other both now and forever. Today, we remember that the essence of our relationship is to dwell in the depths of the heart. Today, we remember that this dwelling will lead us inevitably to become personal hotspots, radiating the energy of love and connectivity to one and all. Today, we remember the prayer of the cosmos is once and for all simply this: I am. May you be. Today, we remember that for all eternity, in every situation, in wealth or poverty, sickness or health, happiness or difficulty, come rain or come shine, we will bless each other both now and forever. Today, we remember that the essence of our relationship is to dwell in the depths of the heart. Today, we remember that this dwelling will lead us inevitably to become personal hotspots, radiating the energy of love and connectivity to one and all. Today, we remember that the prayer of the cosmos is once and for all simply this: I am. May you be. Well, let's break this open a little bit. The first stanza talks about, and it's like what you should remember every day is how it turned out. It didn't come out on the page like that at first, but when you play with something. And so these are like four things to remember. The first thing is to remember that for all eternity in every situation, whatever, wealth or poverty, sickness or health, happiness or difficulty, come rain or come shine, that part of the heart to heart relationship, and that's just not us here in this community, but that includes the cosmos, whatever that transcendent absolute reality is, whatever name you give it, it's included in this, you see. And we will bless each other both now and forever. If you've been here at all for a meeting or two, or maybe for a whole year, the amount that this community blesses each other is amazing. I've never been in a community like it. And, you know, the pandemic gave birth to this. I'll always remember that. You know, my ruin was my fortune and our fortune, because I just did it because there was no other way to communicate. And Jill sort of coaxed me into it. but there's a terrific amount. We keep blessing each other in this space. It's amazing. And that goes on. And that's been the way it's been from, perhaps, I mean, at least from my point of view, the way my heart reads it, for 13.8 billion years, we've been blessed into being about 200,000 years ago as humans. But this whole thing, Matthew Fox wrote a whole book, and it was called The Original Blessing, to replace our kind of sort of silly notion that that the original sin was the big thing. It's the original blessing, and it's about time we tuned in on it. And I think many people in this group have tuned in on it, because you see the amount of blessing between each of you're blessing me right now with your presence. I'm blessing you with the teaching. It goes on and on. What would it be like if we all took a day off of doing what we do and just blessed everybody for the whole world? We had 8 billion people doing that. I don't know. That's what I thought. So we got to remember that actually we're part of an original blessing. That's, the scientists say, are like 13.8 billion years. And then what's really the essence of our relationship? What's the essence of any human relationship? Essence of our relationship is to dwell in the depths of the heart. That's where the power of these presentations and the communities. This poem came out of the heart. We'll drop in the middle. The center of this whole of our whole meeting will be, we will drop into our own hearts and be heart to heart with the transcendent heart. Whatever that means, words sort of fail, but we drop out of the mind. We try to put away our ordinary thoughts and somehow drop into this much vaster space. All meditation is about that, really, if it's on the money. And then you're connected with not only everybody who's doing it, the 40 of us or whatever, but you're connected with you finally turn on your transistor radio and you're connected with the broadcast there, even though you don't know it. To me, I'm really connected when nothing seems to be happening. It's a very ironic thing about it. We all expect something monumental to happen when we sit. I think really the longer I do this, it's going on 50 years now. When nothing appears to be happening, you're really connected. You're really connected. And a lot of stuff is happening. You have no idea, at least you have no idea, meaning your left brain. And today we remember that this kind of dwelling that we've been doing together and that you do when you go in your own time and your own life, when you go into this, dwell in the depths of the heart, which is the depths of consciousness, it will lead us inevitably to become personal hotspots. I mean, when you go to your hotspot on the phone, anybody can pull off of that, to become personal hotspots that just radiate the energy of love and connectivity to one and all. I hope you feel that in this group. Given whatever's going on, sometimes it's a little hard to tune into that, but I think most people, and then you bring that into your life. You bring it, to your wife, to your husband, to your partner, into the workplace. You can become a personal hotspot. I think that's really what it means to be a person, as opposed to an individual who is defined by all these characteristics: man, woman, white, black, gay, straight. We have all these definitions or characteristics that we define ourselves by. But I think this is the ultimate. It's not even a characteristic; it's your essence, to be able to be a channel for the energy of the cosmos. This love is a kind of energy. This connectivity is a kind of energy. Yesterday, when I was disconnected for a bit from the group due to whatever technical glitch it was, it felt awful. Felt awful. A good thing that's why we have co-hosts, because even when I had to shut my computer and reboot it up, everybody else was still there. They were meditating when I got in. And then lastly, the prayer of the cosmos, it seems to me, it's just, when Moses climbed up the mountain and he was hit with the transcendent, and the only words failed, but he just said it was like a burning bush of energy. Okay. And that was communicated. And then he got information from it. And then he said, well, I can't tell people that I'm just talking to a burning bush up here. He said, you got a name? And then the bush communicated to him. It just, it's in most translations, like King James and so forth into English, I am who am. He said, I am who am. But my Dutch Zen master, who's now passed away, Hans, he was a Hebrew scholar. He says, he said, it doesn't say all that in the Hebrew. It just says am. I am. We bought the Descartes thing. I think, therefore I am. That's why it's so hard to let go of thinking, because we think, we're all wrapped up with our thoughts. Who you think you are is not you. Thank God. So It just the absolute reality is just being itself, as Tillich would say, ground of being. I am. And what would that absolute reality, what would it pray for us? May you be. May you just come into being and become everything you're meant to be, rather than what you think you are. May you be. That's I think constantly for our whole life, for 13.8 billion years, that's been the message. At least that's the way I see it. So uh, when we sit today, there's nothing to do in contemplative sitting or meditation or zazen or whatever your title or description of it is, but it's basically being to being, heart to heart with the transcendent. And nobody knows how to do it, and there's nothing to do. You just put aside the other stuff for a while and you sink down. I'll just give you when it comes to it, I'll give you just a little invocation to maybe help you go in the right direction. But once you get down there, there's no plan. It's improvisation. You are on the edge of the moment and you are improvising. So you can't have any plan. So you can't have any plan. You just go down and you become present, open, and available to this meeting, you see. Okay. So we'll stop the recording and we'll shift into kind of meditative mode. So you may want to shift your seat for a bit.